the thoughts that we think are, I'm going to speak for myself and moving forward, and I'm going to say more pure.
Mhm.
They are based in, if you're always doing this work, like unconditional love, working from the heart space, doing all of these different things, that the outside frequency is something that has already been imagined,
Mhm.
created, and manifested.
Welcome to the Sober Edge podcast, inspiration for alcohol-free living. I'm your host, Terry Patterson, functional nutritionist and This Naked Mind senior coach. The Sober Edge is a place to explore the infinite possibilities on the other side of drinking. In a culture soaked in booze, discover the wonder and joy of taking a different path. Meet real people living lives of purpose and passion, learn the truth behind the alcohol myths, and get ready to be motivated, inspired, and astounded by what is possible with the Sober Edge. You're listening to the Sober Edge podcast, episode 130. So, hey everyone, before we dive into today's episode, I want to remind you that if you love reading, if you love hanging out with other alcohol-free women, if you're looking for a fun way to connect in this sober space, I have a book club. The Sober Edge Book Club is coming up on its 1-year anniversary, and I want to invite you to come and join us as we are reading through all kinds of different books that are really focused on helping us have deep conversations and connect in meaningful ways, and yet enjoy one another's company, have fun, and make friends. I loved book club in my former life when I was drinking and over drinking. But on the other side, I found that book clubs just became boozy events where we spent a lot of time talking about things that weren't that interesting or important. And when I became alcohol free, my relationships with other women flourished. And it was because I found myself in this place where I wanted to have deeper conversations. So we're currently reading a book called Platonic, all about deep friendships. And we have read a variety of books from Quitlet to even a couple of novels. We've read personal development books. We've read how-to books. And along the way, we've had lots of authors come and visit and share their wisdom and insights into alcohol-free living. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, you can find more at the Sober Edge Book Club. And you can also come to the show notes from today's episode where I will link to the Sober Edge Book Club page, and you can get all the information. We would love to have you join us. All right. Well, a little bit about today's episode. This is an episode that is just a little bit different because we're going to go deeper. We're going to go beyond where we usually go in the podcast. And I have invited a guest who is a luminary in the realm of psychic mastery and who is going to take us into a place where we are going to explore more about our inner knowing. We're going to talk about leaky energy. We're going to talk about refreshing ourselves. And for me, I have to say that I'm becoming more and more comfortable with being willing to explore more of this inner self. And so I invite you to go there with me and Aundrea today. And I think that you're going to get some interesting insights, and I would love to know what you think of the episode. So be sure and comment once you listen, and I'll see you over in episode 130. Well, hey everyone, it's Terry back with another edition of the Sober Edge podcast. And I have a treat for us today because we are going to go a little bit deeper into the reality we create on the other side of not drinking. So I'm delighted to welcome to the Sober Edge podcast my guest, Aundrea Sides, and she has a business called Vitality Unleashed Live. And this is going to be such a fun conversation because I really get a sense from just the couple of minutes chatting with you, Aundrea, that we're going to co-create this experience together. Is that right?
You got it, lady. I love it. Love it. It's the only way to go nowadays, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And you know what really attracted me to having this conversation is this idea around, how we can get out of our own way, tap more into our intuition, overcome some of these patterns that we've had. And, I spend so much time with my clients focusing on what is available now. So, how do you help your clients and the work that you do in the world, Andrea? How do you help people not get stuck, get out of the place where they feel stuck maybe in the past?
Sure, sure. Then thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Terry. Appreciate it. So it can be from, it depends on the person, really. So it really, each individual, each group that I work with, I have this natural ability. I'm an incredible empath, but not just an intuitive. And this is part of the journey of, feeling all of who you are. So I'm always a huge advocate of asking the self of what is your unique frequency? What is your unique signature of who you are? And how much are you allowing that vitality? And how much are you allowing yourself to emanate your own frequency versus the regurgitation of everything that already exists? And that goes to diving back to when we're young and remembering that beautiful creativity, our imagination, that love, that purity, the innocence, the if you're a female, the softness of the divine of the female and being, or the masculine, and being able to create a container for yourself where you feel safe inside and being able to express yourself in ways that maybe nobody has seen or felt or known or is afraid of inside of themselves. So here you are, woo, your own frequency, you're being genuine in the world. And people are like, whoa, who is this person? And it can trigger a lot of people. And so I have learned that I have now learned how to emit my own frequency equal to love or unconditional love. It can be many other things too. You can, when you start emitting your own frequency and you become a very, very good creator of your reality, you can bring in many different kinds of images, feelings, and the way that you want to create the feeling of who you are and with your friends and family and where you live and all of that. I know this is a very long answer, but I'm trying. So this is the creativity of my mind, the creativity of who I am with my family and where I live and how I live my life. And so being able to emotionally be able to be aware and not just be aware, masterful with your emotions, learning about your intuition, emitting your own frequency, being genuine and trusting yourself because you've created safety for who you are and what you're about because of what you're learning, no matter what anybody's saying. You don't have to go against anybody. You don't have to go, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to fight uphill. You don't have to be a warrior. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to create and start creating the safety within. And so this is what I help people do. I can take somebody through a meditation. I can take somebody through a incredible journey within because I'm so empathic. Like I help people, like, you feel that in your body? What do you think that is? Okay, this is what, this is what's going on. Okay, boom, 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 and help clear the body. But even better than that, we're moving into an age that healers and curanderos or shamanic practitioners, psychologists, all this other stuff, is being phased out because people really want to know how to get back into touch and do this stuff themselves and then co-create in that new space and for this new world, adding vitality, sustainability, these things into our world so that we can live with passion, joy, wishes fulfilled, all of these wonderful things. It is absolutely possible. So I want to be able to speak in a way that feels fulfilling to people, that it feels complete when I'm talking, and that I am emitting my own frequency because I want people to feel that within their gut. I want them to open their heart so that they can take the initiations from the heart and the ping pong, so then they can have that inspired action with their mind. So this solar plex, your gut, and this all works together. And as that's more in balance and this is more in harmony, and you're listening to your intuition and your inner world, and it's creating naturally and with flow outside of yourself. So, and this all works with the mind, right, and the spirit, and then the mind gets those pings, it gets those, instead of motivation, now we are inspiration, and we're taking these leads from the heart is now golden. The heart you trust, because if you don't trust, you're doing the mind thing. You're the mind. We won't say the bad word, right? Okay. We're doing that to ourselves. And then that's when we leak energy. That's when we ask, a lot of other people what they think. We're not able to have conversations in ways that are healthful, that we can speak and then also be able to receive and also give. So there's this whole thing that happens, and when you're wholehearted and you are more intuitive and you are operating from this place of unconditional love, the inspiration happens and the natural inclinations to take action
Yeah.
will
Wow.
happen in the mind, and you just go.
I love this so much because one of the things that I have experienced and see with so many of my clients, Andrea, is this: when we are drinking and over drinking, we're really turning off that intuition and probably what you would say as frequency, because we've got this toxic substance that's interfering with our ability to trust. Well, first of all, I think it comes to trust, because I always talk about when your no doesn't mean no and your yes doesn't mean yes. Like, people that are caught in this over drinking cycle are so um, they let themselves down again and again and again. And I feel like it's not until we move alcohol out of the way that we get to do this deeper work. And so you talk about this word frequency, and I'm really curious about it because I am not, like, I don't consider myself an empath. I mean, I used to say that I couldn't read a room if you gave me a book, you know? And so but with alcohol out of the way and the self-work that I've done and the coaching, I'm much more in tune. But I'm curious about this word frequency. I did some work with a sound therapist, and I've been to like sound baths and things, and I'm very fascinated by this frequency that we emit, that the earth emits, that is this hum that we know stimulates the vagus nerve, that we're not here in a vacuum. We're not just a head walking around, right? So when you're talking about frequency, are you actually talking about the sound, or are you talking about the vibration inside? Can you tell me more?
It's both. It's beautiful. It's actually a sound and it's a vibration. So, but I think that people can relate more with a vibration. And it's a vibration when you have, and this is just for me personally, and what the work that I've been called to do. But, everything is frequency. This is not woo woo. This is not something new age, I'm very grounded in what I do. So when you are at the frequency, everything is vibrating, our table, our computer, our bodies. And this has been scientifically proven. This is not a mystery. Now, for people to ask the question, so the first thing is to ask yourself the question, does that resonate with you? Is that a belief that you can, because if I sit here and I talk about frequency and everything's frequency and people just, that's not their belief system, or they're not curious about it, then it's just like, stop right there. i'm not I'm not here to convince anybody. But even with, so Terry, so even with, no matter what is good or also bad for us, when we start emitting our own frequency, we are ultimately powerful.
Mm.
We're empowered. And the thoughts that we think are, I'm going to speak for myself and moving forward, and I'm going to say more pure.
Mhm.
They are based in, if you're always doing this work, like unconditional love, working from the heart space, doing all of these different things, that the outside frequency is something that has already been imagined, created, and manifested. The frequency we emit is like a fresher. I'm trying to get people to understand this. It's not exactly, but so I'm feeling what people want to kind of know is like when we come in when we're a baby. We haven't learned anything. We're innocent. We're more pure. And what happens is when you go inside of yourself and you start listening to your intuition, you start listening to the inner chatter, the inner worlds, your creativity, your imagination, that is more fresh. It's the leading edge. It's the source. It's the God source. It's the universe, what anybody wants to say. And we're part of that. All right. So this is fresh. This is a fresh frequency that is bringing things from that imagination creation into the new perspective manifestation. Now, okay, it's manifested. But the whole journey of that is so yummy. It's so delicious. And that frequency is pure. So that is the essence of that frequency being clarity, being purity. It's not exactly, there's many other ways to look at this, but I'm just going to explain it this way. And so what we're doing is we're adding from our creative, powerful space of empowerment into the world. We're adding vitality into the world versus regurgitating what already exists. All the knowledge, the universal knowledge that is within from this moment to the next moment to the next moment that already has everything set up for you as you're moving forward and you start to flow. So your universal wisdom is within you. You don't have to read a million books. You don't have to go to educational and college systems. You can even have something that might even not be considered as good for your health. And if you're emitting your own frequency and you're new and you're due your power or your intention, your inspiration, this is going to sound wacky to a lot of people. How dare we be this freaking powerful? Or maybe, we know with inspiring water, we know what happens with water when we inspire it. This is also scientifically proven. Don't take my word for it. Go look, go Google it. How do we affect water with words or with our frequency or our vibration? It's this, we're the same thing. How much percent watered are we? 80% or whatever that it is. Okay, so the thoughts that you think, the questions that you ask yourself, all of this is frequency. It's all put together. Now, when it becomes more unified, when it becomes more coherent from the inside outside, you are adding vitality to this world. Sustainability problems. This is why we have so many problems in the world, overusing resources, not caring where our stuff comes from, doing all these things because we are unconscious. We're not conscious about these things, right? But when you start emitting your own frequency, you're bringing your vitality and you're parlaying to what already exists, and you're adding your world into what already exists, and it becomes a much more beautiful world. And it's your world. You get to enjoy it. And that's when the right people come. That's when the right jobs come. That's when the right, that right whatever for you. And if it's not the right thing, those are things that we can mirror.
So I have a question for you because I like to think of this one way that I have been able to suspend judgment is through curiosity. So, like, really just asking, well, what am I here to learn? Or what if this isn't my belief? Or what if the person is operating in their highest good at this moment? And what if this is happening for me instead of to me? Those types of things. And so I'm wondering if curiosity can be a way to start expanding your own vibration, frequency, intuition. Do you believe that to be true? Am I on the right track?
You are, and for because your life experience and your experience is valuable. And what you're saying here is valuable, and your experience with your clients is valuable. And you have learned to be able to trust in yourself and your methods and your heart and being able to reach people and be able to do it in the purest way that you know up until right now, right? And then you ask more questions, but being able to ask the questions first inside, and then being able to be not present so much with even our mind. A slow breath works really great with this to be present. I know that people hear about this all the time, but listen, how many different directions are you pulled just even with technology every single day? It only takes about 7% of the day, 5% to start having supernatural abilities is what they would say, meaning your empowerment, power. To me, it's crazy that people think that that is strange, that you would want to, that we're teaching about coming home to yourself and knowing who you are and your vibrancy and your vitality and your frequency versus, okay, I'm not conscious. And guess what? About 50 other belief systems, victimhood, um, criticizing, gossip, all these other things that we're giving our life force energy to that leave us completely depleted by the end of the day or in our life or cause dis-ease. This is the root of all of it. And people can disagree or they can, but in my experience with working with thousands and thousands of clients and clearing of different things, whether it be emotional, spiritual, mental, any of it, psychological, there's always energy, there's always a root to it, and it connects also to the emotional body. And what I call is that people have to clear too, to answer your question. I think I've answered it in about 5 different directions, but it's like a savage energy. And that means that we are reactive. We are, we're in this loop with our emotions where we can't get out of the emotions that have a negative impact on our health or that mentally do not feel good to us. So our mental is separate. It's together with our emotional, but our emotional being able to really start asking the questions about our intuitive nature, and asking question, how can I elevate my emotion in this sense? Can I step back? Can I be neutral about it? Can I look at myself? Can I laugh? you know, can I laugh about this? Can I feel not just myself, but how that this is rippling out and affecting my child, my partner, not to feel guilt and shame, but to bring awareness to yourself. And then you can feel, instead of pushing it out on other people, that you feel that knot in your chest, you feel that gut in your thing, and you say, okay, I feel it, I see it. So when did I get this? What age did I get this? Or where is this coming from? Or what is this emotion? And even if you don't know how to clear it, and I give tools, very simple, very easy tools, and you do too, I'm sure, Terry, to people to be able to clear these different things within their life that pull from the root. What happens is when we're able to master our emotions and clear these repetitive patterns that are ingrained in our nervous system, we really, and it doesn't take that much effort. It's so much more effort to try to control your emotions from the outside and do all these things. Like, it's so much more energy than tapping in. And it's focus. It's focus. It's focusing on how you feel with your body, your mind, asking the questions, asking to level it up a little bit, asking how can I approach this from a different situation. Where did I get this? Okay, I got it at 4. And who did I probably get it from? And you don't have to analyze it. Don't analyze it. Okay, I got it from mom. Okay, what is it? Okay, I yell. Okay, where did the yelling come from? It's because I don't feel like I'm heard. Okay, so when I was 4 years old, I got from mom that I'm not heard, and this is where I yelled, I want to clear and transmute it. Boom, feel it in the body. And there's different ways to bring awareness or light or illumination. This is where your creativity, this is where your imagination comes in. You have to start creating this imagination of light and lightness within the body, connecting to what they call woo woo, the star beings, your earth. This is what children do. The things that make you feel curious, mysterious to you. How do I bring light in my body so that I can illuminate and I can be clear with my thinking? How do I be clear with my eyes and my ears? How do I clear this out of my throat? Let's bring in light so that I can articulate and put this in a whole different way. Bring the light from the highest level and any deep essence that you feel, that you resonate, that you feel is divine or God or you or whatever that it is, that the deepest knowledge that you can get within yourself that you believe, that is curious, that is mystery, bring that to that ailment in that moment, in that emotion, and ask to clear it through all time, dimensions, spaces, and realities. This is just one of the many things, and watch it and keep on bringing in it, and it'll probably get more uncomfortable as you go, because guess what, you're bringing awareness to whatever that is in your body. Hello, I'm there. Hi, woohoo, you're seeing me finally, woohoo. Okay, this is what and it probably will give you messages. Write them down, acknowledge them, say I love you. Or if you might get a vision, or you might see something when you were 4 years old and an interaction, you and your mom, take your hand at that child, bring her into your arms. I know that this sounds kooky, but it's not. We have to learn to nurture and love ourselves at these points in our lives. It's not about the image, it's not about what we're doing, it's the inspiration, it's the love behind it. It's it's how we talk to ourselves. It's how we bring ourselves back up, literally from a child, or bringing ourselves into another emotion. It's not the way we get there. I don't want people get too hung up on, especially spiritualism and, the new age or God or religion and all these things. Each person has this way. And Terry, I learned a huge lesson, and I've been learning this a lot this last year. I can take people through stuff. I can heal them of certain, I can do all of this. I can show them how to do this. But what I'm seeing now is, now with Vitality Unleashed, we're releasing all these incredible modules, is now I'm taking people into the imagination, the curiosity, and rekindling their creativity, because it all starts there. It starts there. And it doesn't matter if people think that we're weird. Do we think our children are weird, or do we think that they're sacred? Or do we just love them so freaking much just for breathing? There's a reason for all of that. Not just because they come from us, because they're little purity, God source, yummy essences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
I,
I
yeah,
went on a
so good.
rampage there. Sorry.
Well, no, it's so good because this is, the work that is available to us when we stop drinking. And so part of what I have the privilege of taking people through is the awareness of where, they have been holding on to stories from the past. And I think it's so fascinating because we know that we don't have recollection of the past. We have recreation. So when I tell you a story from my childhood, it's not what actually happened. It's what actually happened. And the last time I told the story, it's what actually happened, and the meaning I created around it. It's what actually happened the time I shared it with my sister and she said, that's not what happened. It's all of that. And so it's not, it's this recreation. And so one of the things that can be so powerful in what you're talking about is this, this opening that we have this possibility to go back and to ask with new lightness and new intuition around what experience do I want to bring into my present, and where am I staying stuck? And we do some of this work, not to the level that you're talking about, but we do talk about that we can go back and recreate the story. We can change the story we're telling ourselves about the past, and we can integrate those parts of us, and we can do the work of mind, body, spirit. And so much of what I do as a functional nutritionist and an alcohol freedom coach is we have to pay attention to the body. We have to pay attention, like you're talking about, where we, these thought patterns and these old stories and this talk in our head, this trash talk in our head creates this disease. I mean, I had a real life example where a woman I knew who was suffering greatly in mind and spirit contracted lung cancer out of the blue in her 40s and died within like 3 months. And she literally, the disease, the stress, the thoughts, I believe killed her, killed her spirit, killed her body. And so, one of the things that is available to us on the other side of alcohol is to start paying attention in new ways, to start exploring what these emotions feel like. We're bound so tight when it comes to unleashing exactly what you're talking about, our inner knowing, our vitality, our ability to process emotions, to get curious about them instead of resisting or pushing them away. I mean, you go so much deeper, but I'm able to bring a little bit of this into the work that I do because I see as this, holistic, not bound by time, right? I always think of this journey that I help people with is the becoming and the unbecoming. Some of it we have to let go of, and some of it we have to re-know. And that's where what you're saying, I think, is really going to resonate with my audience. They've done some of this work.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. And also I wanted to say, and thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And when you tell the story, Terry, when you tell the story, I will challenge you saying that I'm so much deeper. This is how we all are. And sometimes that we just have to be around another person, and all of a sudden all these things open up. We remember, we see, because this is our natural, innate well-being, wholeness. We come from the wholeness. We come from the love. We come from these, and I have been on podcasts that I will be speaking, and people will still sometimes they will fight for the limitations that exist, that being human is hard, that stopping drinking or doing bad habits or whatever has to be hard. But I'm saying that there's another way to be able to, and that is to look in the mirror and to be able to start developing your inner world, whether it be through creativity, imagination, intuition, asking questions, just in your curiosity, as you were saying. And even if, like with people that are quitting and trying to drink, sometimes they can do it cold turkey, but usually something really, really profound happens a lot of the time where they're like, I'm never doing that again. But there are other ways, and I'm sure that you have quite a few stories around this too, that when people are just not ready but they want to, that they have to get neutral about it. They have to take a step back and stop judging themselves and even the drink about it or whatever that is. It's not just it's with anything. It's with not taking good care of your body. It's with a habit that you might have with whatever that it is, and that you just let go of the resistance of it. You stop judging yourself around it. I don't care if you're still taking a drink and stop the judgment. Stop it. Stop the judgment that this is right or wrong or whatever, and get neutral and watch what happens. Pretty soon, a little bit less and a little bit less. There are easier and softer ways that we can mirror, because the mirror is inside. That's going to be the feeling. That's going to be enough. And to be aware of what we're feeling around it and to tell a different story, that is enough. Much less you judge, you're really harshly judging yourself. Other people are judging you, and telling all these stories. To do whatever that you can to just get off yourself, so that some of this stuff and this wholeness and love can come back and can come in.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so, yes, exactly. And I thank you, first of all, for calling me out and my own limitations. It's so good because, yes,
You're
yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah, you forget that, being in the presence, it feels so good. Thank you. My body is vibrating at a whole new level. But we talk in the work of Annie Grace, where I was trained in the methodology. We really do recreate the old paradigm around the 12 steps and alcohol. This is a disease, and you are limited by this disease. You'll never have control. And we really do start with taking out the judgment. I like to remind people that if beating ourselves up resulted in change, you and I wouldn't need to be in the world doing the work that we do. It doesn't work that way. We cannot beat ourselves into change.
It's
We
not
cannot,
fun either. Why would we
yeah,
be doing this?
no,
We wouldn't be. It's not
no.
fun.
And
It's not joyful. Receiving, getting back, connected. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah. And this is what is so exciting to me. I get so passionate and I'm on fire about this ability to create our new reality when we're on the other side of alcohol. Like, I was miserable drinking. And I thought I would be miserable not drinking, but I was willing to try because I was miserable. And no one, my idea for freedom for people is let's let go of the misery. Like, life is so vibrant and beautiful without alcohol, and so much opens up on the other side because we get to tap into this place where we're not numbing, we're not turning off our intuition, we're not dumbing ourselves down, we're not, creating this buffer between us and real life. And to me, it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. It's been an 8-year journey for me so far, and it just keeps getting better and better. And so when people think that removing something like alcohol means they're not going to have any fun, or life's going to be dull, or they won't get accepted, or, they'll never feel high on their own supply. I mean, it's like, it's so fascinating to me that places we get stuck. And it's just not true. It's just not true.
Yeah, I agree. And even like, so I know that you're the non-alcohol coach and seeing the other side, but the alcohol, but whatever underlining and dot, whatever that is for you. It could be addicted to victimhood. It could be addicted to self-righteousness. It could be, addicted to work. It could be, I know that alcohol is different, but I want to say too, and I want to say this from a perspective, give you a little bit of background. We talked a little bit about this, Terry, before we came on. I was involved very early on in that whole patriotic, and, the different programs that were out there, and they serve their purpose because I understand. Wow. I'm just going to say it. Phew. I understand what happens in those meetings. I understand what happens around the sobriety and trying to keep yourself sober. And if it works for some people, I think that it's wonderful. There's no right and wrong here.
Mhm.
But to empower yourself and to ask yourself the questions along. And so what happens is with real healing, when things start to be really healed, you can be healed from anything, anything. And when you are really healed, you are able to look back on your life instead of retelling the stories. This is what I did and how much trouble I got in. And I understand that it's like an initiation and bringing more people in so they feel safe and comfortable and all these things. But when real healing happens, you're able to start looking back. And we teach this, you do. I teach this on vitalityunleashed.live, giving people different tools to do this. But you look back on your life and you're able to see the successes. You're able to see the appreciation and the positive, not always positive lessons, but the lessons. And you're able to look back on it with a little bit of a smile or some laughter, that now you've healed. You have healed. And now what happens is you're more present, you have more power available and empowerment, you have more vitality in your ability right here, right now. You actually are able to see clearly and connect with when you first came in as a child. Instead of telling the story, you see how you came in. You came in as love. You came in as innocence. You see the even in the worst circumstances, that we come in with these different things, and you're able to reconnect and start telling that story. And when you were talking about the story, you recreate within your mind, and you know that you are love, that you are innocence, that you are this purity, that there's this purification, and there is this connection, that you're a magnet. You're a magnet for life because you are life. You're giving life back because you're okay. So, and what happens is you change your timelines. You change your destiny because you have changed the way that you have completely looked into this moment, into the past and your experiences. You really are past even forgiveness. You are looking back at your past and seeing those lessons and seeing that dynamic and smiling about it and feeling the fulfillment of it and being more easy with yourself as you look back. Sometimes that's what people need to start doing and start doing now, is telling those different stories, catching themselves when they're critical of themselves or judgment. It's just a now thing. You don't have to do all these big things that I'm talking about. Aim for self-love. Aim for self-love and being aware of when you are being critical or judgmental or those type of things. This is very important and has to be replaced with love.
I love that. And it's so simple and yet not easy. So one of the biggest,
I
one of
know.
the biggest things that I see that so many people kind of universally, and maybe, well, I won't even say more women, but I work predominantly with women, but they have this old story or belief that they're not enough. And it permeates so many of the other stories. And, you know, they're not smart enough, pretty enough, talented enough, thin enough. And it's fascinating to me to consider, like, we don't think about other beings this way. So it's this own internal dialogue, in our head, this judgment. And I often will remind people, so many of my clients have pets. I mean, humans and pets, right? I just say, could you talk to yourself like you talk to your dog? Like, you forget that you have so much love and you accept their faults. And can you say to yourself, oh, baby, it's okay. You're so beautiful. Oh, I see you doing that thing over there. You're so cute. We forget that we are enough. And what are
I get this image of a dog pooping and the little puppy and somebody that's, more critical. Oh my God. And then, oh, look how cute. You just did a poopy poop.
exactly, yeah. I mean, we even glorify their poop. You're right. And nothing is wrong with our pets. And yet we are so we do so much condemnation, as you mentioned, and self-judgment, right? So this sort of universal I am not enough. How do people explore and let go and move beyond that?
Yeah. So it's kind of the,
Could you tell us in
uh,
just 1 minute?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
I
it's
sure
not a
will.
1 minute thing.
No, it's great. That was perfect because that's what I was like, straight to the point. So in those moments, whether you're talking to someone or you're trying to make a decision about something, or you catch yourself in self-criticism or criticizing another or a victimhood, and you'll notice it's very innate actually for us to want to stop this. It really is. It really, really is. And then you ask yourself, what would a person, or you can say for yourself, that loves themselves do in this situation? Or has unconditional love? What would they do? And even if you still don't do it, don't be hard on yourself. Just keep on asking the question. Do it for 6 weeks. Watch how your life changes. Do it for 6 months. Oh my gosh, you're on a roll. Do it for a year. You never have to ask the question again.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that maybe I saw this in your bio, which I will share in the show notes, but you used to do a lot of work one on one, and now you do groups. How do people do this collectively? Like, what is the energy there? What are the snags? What are the benefits?
So, so there's always benefits to being able to be in the moment and to be self-aware, self-actualized, self-realized, asking yourself questions and asking to enter into this imagination and creativity to create a new world that matches exactly who you are in your most genuine, real, truthful, incredible of a empowered powerhouse of a person. You have to start there.
Mm.
And you're able to intuitively, for me, I'm able to see where all the wishes are are granted, where they're fulfilled, what people are asking for, opening up different spaces for people so that they can feel that energy, they can feel that safety, and then we just start clearing. But like I said before, I was doing the one-on-ones. Now what I'm doing is I will give examples, and maybe I don't think we'll have time now, but taking them through a very powerful meditation, and their essence is on fire. They go, wow, that is incredible how she can just come out with that. And how does she know that I feel that? And this person, this group, and this person, and things are clicking, and they're feeling move, and there's shivers, and they're yawning, and they're tearing up, and these things are happening. And they're like, okay, well, that's really great, but how do I do this for myself? And then I start teaching them about emotional mastery and the creativity and turning that up again, and the imagination, and how powerful this is, because that's us.
Mm.
We have every right to bring our creative nature and our imagination, and it enhances everything in our life. The benefit is when you turn those things on, you look inward, is it's not the immediate pain. Okay, get over yourself, get over the immediate pain and go and being scared. You should be more scared if you knew and could see energy, which you will one day, like, or a lot of people are going in that direction. If you could see what is sucking your life force energy and where you're giving your attention, and it's not very focused in 50 other places, and how that it's affecting your body, versus, oh, let me do this moment right now, this presence, this breath work, this asking these questions and bringing myself to get the real answers that feel in alignment and feel real to me, my truth. You would be doing it right now, every day, every single day. Because what happens if you had so much vitality at the end of the night, and then you're winding down and you're going into meditation, you only needed 3 hours of sleep and still feel really, really great the next day? And what happens if you didn't have that lag? What happens if you had those conversations, you knew exactly what to say without offending anybody, because you were looking at a collective group of how everybody could benefit in moving forward, and their ideas and everything. And then you have the power, because one person that's connected to who they are is more powerful than a gazillion people that are not. So your frequency is actually overriding and overshadowing the shadows.
Mm.
That's what I want people to inspire to. And then you get to really start co-creating. It's not about conflict then, because it doesn't work with that. And even if there is conflict, it's a blip. You move on.
Yeah. So you mentioned that when people start to change, there's another common theme here that sometimes the people around them are like, whoa. And that happens with people around alcohol too, right? Like, and I think it's so fascinating because there's this old story that, if you stop drinking alcohol, you have to change all your friends. And I just want to call that out as bullcrap, because it's like you get to keep the friends that work for you, but you are going to be vibrating in this new energetic place where you are more in tune to yourself. You are protecting your space. You are giving, well, maybe protecting is not even the right word. You are inviting this, you have this invitation of who is for you into your space. And so
Yeah, there we go.
things look different and feel different. And I think there's such a beautiful place of permission, like giving yourself permission that that's okay. We have so many stories from our past and society and other people who meant well, but didn't say the right words to us, at saying that you're not allowed to do that, or that's not okay, or you might offend someone, or, you're too much, like tone down that vibrational energy. I got this a lot. And I finally had to start saying, no, no longer accepting that, not open for that anymore.
So if we're very powerful when we're connecting, so there's a lag time sometimes. So you've been doing something for a very long time. You're attracting different things, you're at a different frequency, or you're just in a different life and different people around you. Give it some time. You got to give yourself some time to trust these new insights that you have and stand up for them. The more you stand up for them, the more that you trust your own insights, and the more that you go within, that you don't have to explain yourself so much to people. And even if you do, you're very clear, you're more clear about it. And guess what? Your clarity is going to actually help the people that are around you that are unclear, and have more harmonious relationships, even with those people that were not, because that you are more in truth and you are bringing back your vitality, you're bringing back your power, and these people are still all over the place, and they're going to be inspired by you most of the time if you're doing this with a non-resistant kind of way, and you're trusting yourself. But it depends on how, we all go through these evolutions, in our and expansion, spirituality, or mental, physical, in our heart, all this other stuff, and there has to be that inner trust. But these people are still nitpicking, and they're still used to you doing the other thing, so you have all these strings still trying to pull you and doing these things. Now if you go back over there and you do all these other things, that's where it kind of gets a little bit messy. Just wait. Just wait. Keep on working on yourself. Take a moment. Do some alone time if you need to, and if you can't, that's okay too. But find ways to be able to cultivate this interior knowledge and this interior wisdom. And if you don't know what it is, keep on asking, what is this? And then watch and wait and trust yourself and watch your world transform. Give it a minute. Give it a moment. You know how you just know things about somebody, and you know that whatever is going to happen, and you just know it. And it's not anything that's self-righteous, but you feel it. And I'm not talking with bad things. I'm not talking about judgment and criticism. That's not, you might have those things too, but you're actually adding to that if you're doing that. But if you're choosing to love and you're choosing to be in this moment and be non-judgmental and giving and having the respect, it's an integrity. It's an intuitive integrity that you know something about this person, and you know that, you see you see their best self, or you see that they're going to make changes, or do this, or how you want to react or not react, how you want to interact with people. React would be the opposite. You're doing this with this person, right? And you just know it, but they keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, but you just know it. Oh, then you start, oh man, was I right? Was that really the truth? I don't know if I really saw that. Did I really know that about that person? I don't know. But what I saw, I was so clear. And a good indicator is that you were happy that you did when you saw it. You were joyous. You were feeling good. You got chills. You got aha moments. Your expansion got bigger. Your inner knowledge was more. Your interactions, you just felt more zip in your step when you came into this realization. But this person is still showing you these other things. Stay there. Trust yourself. Stay there for a little while longer and just watch how the person blossoms right in front of you. That can be with family, it can be friendships, or if they're not willing to, it's okay too. They might go out of your experience, they might not. But guess what? As we evolve, I am a firm believer, Terry, when we are really in our power, everybody that we had contact with us now and prior to us in a little way, shape, or form comes along with us.
That's beautiful. You reminded me of something that I heard a while ago, and I come back to it. And when I find myself telling those old stories about individuals in my life who are working out their own patterns, doing their own stuff, and it feels, heartbreaking in some ways, I am reminded to speak life over them and to talk about them in that present sense of, oh, I see them being, the best mama. I see them being free from addiction. I see them open to, new experiences. I see them radiating with love. And you know what? I was reminded of this recently, like if I'm not speaking life over them, I'm speaking death. And it's like, oh, careful, those thoughts, those powerful thoughts that we have, to be able to remind ourselves, like, I can be responsible for co-creating this ability for this person to come along, and seeing them in their highest good allows them to see themselves in their highest good. It puts it out there in the universe. Speaking life, it really is such a powerful thing. And as we've been talking about this entire time, we need to do that for ourselves. We need to be
Yeah.
speaking life over ourselves and reminding ourselves of who we are innately and intuitively. And I wrote so many words. I'm just going to read back a few words to wrap this up that I wrote down about what you said, because you talked about empath versus intuitive. You talked about trust. You talked about flow, frequency. We talked about pure, freshness, vitality, present, curiosity, energy. We talked about disease. We talked about clearing. We talked about elevating my own emotion. We talked about illumination, imagination, loving what is. I wrote that because you reminded me of the beautiful Byron Katie. I just wanted to share those words as a way to bring people into this, to sort of put a circle around this conversation, that I want to invite people to go out and continue to expand that beautiful expansiveness that you talked about. So thank you for helping us all expand and reach beyond what we normally think about and talk about in our day to day. But this internal work is part of the gift that we've given ourselves when we move out of our own way. And alcohol is really just a symptom of us trying to soothe in ways that are not healthy. And so thank you for illuminating for us how we can get back to that vitality unleashed. It's so powerful.
Hmm. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for having me here. So glad. What a great conversation. So glad to meet all of you and your wonderful viewers.
Yes, and I will definitely link to all of the ways that people can connect with you, because there definitely are many of my listeners who are willing and ready to do this deeper work. And I think Aundrea and I would both say, if you're feeling a resistance, just get curious. Open up the possibility of what might expand if you allow yourself to just go a little deeper. So thank you. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Sober Edge podcast. This is a place for important conversations and a safe place to question everything you thought you knew about drinking. If you're looking for your sober edge, I want to invite you to connect with me at thesobernutritionist.com, where you can grab my free resource, Becoming More, a guide to loving your sober life. And I would be so grateful if you enjoyed this podcast, if you would leave a rating and review, as it will help more people find their sober edge.